Well, good morning, gang. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion, your old pal John, your old pal Jeffrey. How are you today? Well, much like I promised yesterday, we are going back to MacArthur Park, and today we're going to look at the filming locations from the 1965 movie A Patch of Blue, starring Sidney Poitier and Miss Shelley Winters. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Yeah, like I said yesterday, this was not always the safest area. This was known for being well, let's just say a pretty popular drug park, a place a lot of people came to buy drugs. And I'm not talking cough syrup. Now, a lot of people will set up these little booths and stuff along the side of the street. You can buy kind of garage sale type stuff and sometimes new stuff. And fresh food. Alright gang, you remember from yesterday we were in MacArthur Park, so we're back today and we're back over in the same half of MacArthur Park, and I'm going to show you the filming locations of Patch of Blue. Well, here we are on the corner of 6th and Alvarado. The first scene we see in 1965's game-changing movie A Patch of Blue was right here. It's a movie that promoted integration, and it was a movie that in 1965 when it came out, in a lot of southern states it wasn't allowed to be shown because of the content matter. The first scene that we actually see from over here at MacArthur Park is we see Old Pa bringing Selena for the first time to the park. Now the basis for this movie was that there's a blind girl who's never been to school, never had any education whatsoever, and she's pretty much been holed up in her house, well, her apartment, with her mother Roseanne, played by Shelley Winters, and her grandfather. And one day she requests to be allowed to come and work on making beads. That's her job. She strings beads. She asked to be able to come do it here in the park, and so that's where a bulk of the touching scenes in this movie take place. So we see Old Pa walking Selena across the street. Now this has been over 50 years ago, so the park has changed significantly. But this is the same entrance that they come in and the same turn that they walk into to come find what I call Selena's tree.
Thank you, Old Pa. Thank you for being nice to me.
Can't do this every day.
No, just sometimes.
Now I guess we should have, over 50 years, expected quite a bit of it to change.
I can remember blue. The sky's blue, ain't it?
Yeah, sometimes. Here you are.
And you can tell because a lot of the times they will show the ground, they'll show them walking, and you can tell that it's not the same layout, not the same street lamps.
Oh, Pa?
But we're gonna come down here and I'm gonna show you anyway. So in reality, we would have seen Selena and Old Pa come walking in here, and they would have walked in this general direction over to where the tree was. Now the problem is, you can tell by looking at these trees, they're all newer. And I tried to even match up the roots, because in the movie you can see part of the roots from the tree that she's always sitting at underneath her, but alas, you can't find it. Now, the reason I like this movie is because not only did it promote, you know, integration, because it was starring Sidney Poitier, but it had this young girl who was being taught by this man that she could do things and that there was a world outside of just the torment that she'd been in. And the story that she ends up telling while she's here in this park is she tells basically Gordon, that's who Sidney Poitier plays. He's a guy who takes his lunch here in the park, and he comes here and meets her and finds out that she's blind and that she views herself as disfigured because her mother always calls her ugly, and always played by Shelley Winters. Now, Shelley Winters actually won an Academy Award for this part, which was a major shock to her because, like she said, it was such a dislikable character.
You sick or something?
I never felt finer.
Oh! You feel like wow now?
And it was exactly the opposite of everything that Shelley stood for. She was a big proponent of civil rights in her life and helping the underprivileged people. And so for her to play basically a hooker who, we find out the story that when her husband is away at war, when he comes home, he finds Shelley Winters, who is sleeping with a John in their apartment, comes in, they start a fight, and Shelley goes to throw something at him and ends up blinding Selena for the rest of her life. And so Selena is treated horribly by Shelley and her friends that come over. She's made to do all the chores, she's made to do all the cooking, and the only fun thing that she gets to do during the day, or the only thing that she looks forward to, is coming to the park, having somebody bring her to the park, and old Pa picking her up. And that's where she ends up developing this relationship with Sidney Poitier.
I know something happened to my face, but is it, you know, well, somebody said it was a bit of a mess.
Mess? Nah. You got a couple of scars around your eyes, that's all.
No kidding?
Now, one of the things that Shelley said that she loved about this movie was that, for one thing, Elizabeth Hartman, who played Selena, the blind girl, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress, and that was the youngest person at the age of 22 to ever be nominated for that award. Shelley won the award for Best Supporting Actress for this part, and the movie just was a success in the box office, which meant it gave everything that the movie was trying to show, it gave it some merit. It showed that people wanted to see it and that people were open to it, so very cool. Now, almost everything has changed out here. Originally, there were bushes that lined the outside of this park, but there are a few scenes that I can match up because of the street corners. So I want to take us over. We're going to go over to the corner of 7th and Alvarado, and I'm going to show you where Gordon and Selena go for a walk, and where they cross the street and Gordon takes Selena over to have a corned beef sandwich for the first time at the delicatessen. Now, this was the kind of tree that Selena ends up spending her days beating these things together for, and eventually, of course, everyone finds out that her friend is black, Sidney Poitier, and it's a really sad story to Elizabeth Hartman as well, because she never really found, even though she was in a few movies after this, and she did a lot of theater work after this, she was in a movie that Francis Ford Coppola did, but she never really got a part quite like this or quite as big ever again, and eventually became lifelong depressive, and in 1987 she jumped from the 5th floor window of her apartment and died. Now, that Westlake Theater sign, you can actually see that in the distance in the background when she's crossing the street over here for the first time with old Pa. We're actually going to head over here to where they went and found the delicatessen. Now, I am going to try and check every single tree that looks like it could be the one out here. I'm going to look for those roots. Now, there are actually a lot of statues out here kind of surrounding the park, and like I said before, there's a handful of vlogs I'm going to do out here. This statue actually does not fall into that vlogging category, but some of the others do, so we'll be back out here to show you some of the others in another vlog. So it's actually right here we see Sidney Poitier, Gordon, and Elizabeth Hartman getting ready to cross this sidewalk, or this street right up here, and you can see over here in those days, this was an outlet store right over here, and then right here on the corner was a place called Biff's.
Stop the traffic.
Yes, that's no problem. Now feel for this post here.
It's the same building. And then right over here, right directly across the street, same building, that was the Royal Rexall Drugstore in 1965. And so we see them waiting right here to cross the street, looking at these signs. And then Gordon helps her cross the street right here.
Count your steps as you go across.
Right there you can see Biff's.
About level with your waist, there's a button.
Here?
That's it. Press it.
And it's kind of funny that in the storyline of the movie, Gordon is wanting to take her over here to a delicatessen to get a corned beef sandwich. So they actually go up here a few stores and then make a left inside the store. But right here on the corner is maybe the most famous delicatessen in all of Los Angeles, called Langer's. And I'll tell you how I could tell that was the same building. Even though the awning is no longer there, you can see this doorway and this square in the shot over his shoulder, over Sidney Poitier's shoulder. And then right as they're making across this street,
One step up.
you can actually see the outlet sign right over here in these buildings.
There you are. Now, there's a delicatessen a little bit further on.
Then we see Gordon and Selena walk down here. And you can actually see this building in the background.
Right.
I thought so.
It's called something different. But then right here is where the delicatessen would have been. Right inside this passport studio.
Whatever they're cooking, it sure smells good.
Now, even though it's a different sign now, you could see the Park Supermarket sign going across there, and you can still see the windows going all the way across here.
Right.
I thought so.
In the shot back in 1965. So now I'm going to take us back over to kind of where we started, and I'm going to show you another scene from the movie. And then again right here you could see the Biff sign right there, and you can see the outlet sign that used to be there.
How about that?
Now everything we're going to see now, this entire block up here that I'm going to show you, this is all completely changed. This is almost unrecognizable. Now unfortunately, the last piece that I'm going to show you was filmed right here along this sidewalk. It's the scene where Selena comes out on her own and gets lost, can't find her way to the park, and this entire building is different, so none of the tiling, nothing matches up anymore. But I'm going to take us over and show you, because this is the intersection right here where she gets escorted by that nice lady across the street and gets turned around. So it was actually 50 years ago that she would have came walking out of this alley. And had been working her way along the shops, feeling her way, touching the walls, looking for her way over to this park that's actually, now that you know where we've started, when we first made our first cross, we were on the other side of the street crossing that way. So she was actually working her way over here, and she gets to this corner. This is when the kids are zipping by, and she ends up coming up to this corner and kind of hugging this corner up here. That would have been the building instead of, you know, all this building that was right here and all this. She would have come up here, been frightened right here, and then she would have stood on this corner asking someone to help her.
Please help me.
You sick, honey?
No, I'm blind.
And now this is a Bank of America, but even that building is completely different. There was a different bank there altogether. She ends up getting escorted across the street by that nice lady, and all this has changed. That's pretty much all different. The lady escorts her across the street, and then once she gets over there, there's so many people over there that she gets confused and gets turned around and ends up working her way back over. So let's make the same track that Selena would have been wandering her way through. Even the one tree that was in the background isn't here anymore. So she would have made it over to here, and right here got turned around and confused. And this would have been the Hemmick's food store over here, the Hemmick's restaurant or whatever that was in the day.
Watch your step.
You can see it in the background of not only this shot when she's going to cross again, but you can actually see it in the background of the shot where she's crossing here at the very beginning of the movie. And then going this way, we would have seen a discombobulated Selena working her way over here. And that's where the guy would ask her where she lived, and she said on Pine Street, and he'd say, well, that's just up here around the corner.
73 Pine Street.
Yeah, that's around the corner.
And we see him walk her out this way. I tell you, it is a major bummer that nothing over here in this park matches up other than literally the entrance concrete that we walked through. Nothing is the same from over 50 years ago, but that's kind of the reason I wanted to do this vlog, was to show you how much has changed in that time and where it all would have taken place. Alright, I think we're out of here. Let's head back to Hollywood. Yeah, we'll take the stairs. Alright, now we just gotta wait for our train. Well, good evening, my friends. Hope you guys all enjoyed this vlog. This one was special to me because, of course, it was a movie that Shelley was in. And I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see Ja today, because Ja got a call and they asked if Ja could go spend the night with Pollyanna. So when I saw that, I said, Ja, would you? And all of a sudden his face started tensing up and his eyes started bugging out. And I said, like to, and the tail started wagging all fast. I said, would you like to go stay with Pollyanna tonight? And he started hopping all over the bed and biting my ears and licking my face and just going nuts. So, you know, he had to. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog today. I know it's not a movie probably a lot of people have seen. It's probably even a movie that a lot of people have forgotten, but it's a great movie, definitely worth checking out. And like I said, my friend Shelley got an Oscar for this, playing just an absolutely horrible person. But she's really good. Everybody in this movie is really good, and it's definitely worth checking out. So have a great night. I wanted to thank Missy Jameson for becoming my newest Patreon. And if you'd like to become a Patreon too, just go to patreon.com/JordanTheLion. And everyone else, have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.